Hi everyone, I am Didinje, the author of gmail.com. Today, I want to show you the series of comprehensive step-by-step Angular material components tutorial about form controls, select, not select, complete with the working examples. An Angular materials form control is an essential component, especially when working with the data. There are some Angular material form controls like autocomplete, checkbox, dead speaker, form field, input, radio button, select, slider, and slide toggle. This time, we will show you examples of Angular material form controls: select, mat select, table of contents, preparation, basic select example, select in reactive form example, grouping option example, multiple select example, nested select example, custom style example. The following tools, frameworks, and libraries or modules are required for this tutorial. Node.js, Angular Age, Angular Material, Terminal on Linux or Mac, or Node command line on Windows, text editor or IDE. We use Visual Studio Code. Preparation. We will bundle all of these Angular material form controls, select examples in one application. For that, we will prepare or required Angular Age applications and Angular Material Age. Now, we are creating an Angular Age app using Angular CLI, which needs Node.js and npm to install or update it. Make sure you have to install Node.js and npm before installing or updating Angular CLI. To install or update an Angular CLI, type this command in the terminal or Node command line. Next, create a new Angular Age app using Angular CLI by type this command. That command will create a new Angular Age app with the name Material Select and pass all questions as why. Then, the Angular CLI will automatically install the required npm modules. After finished, go to the newly created Angular Age folder, then run the Angular Age app for the first time. Using that --open parameters will automatically open the Angular Age in your default web browser. Here is the Angular Age default page look like. Stop the running Angular Age application by press Ctrl+C. From now, we will working or do any task for these Angular projects inside the IDE or text editor. For Visual Studio Code, just type inside the projects folder. After the Visual Studio Code opened, open the terminal, and we will doing any commands right here. Next, type this command to install Angular Age material using Angular CLI's install schematics. Leave all questions like this as default to finish the installation. Next, open and edit src/app/app.module.ts. Then add these required imports of Angular forms modules, Reactive forms modules, Angular material, mat select modules, and mat form field modules. Register the above modules to ng module imports. Now, the Angular material, form controls, components, and Angular reactive form modules are ready to use in Angular components. Basic Select Example. For basic Angular material form controls, select Mat Select Example, we need to create an Angular components first. Type these commands in the Visual Code terminal to create a new Angular component. Next, open and edit src/app/app.routing.module.test. Then add these imports. Add basic components to the routes constant. Next, open and edit src/app/app.components.html. Then replace all HTML or Angular templates with this. Give it a little style by open and edit src app components as CSS. Then add these lines of CSS codes. Next, open and edit src/app/basic/basic.components.html. Then replace the HTML tags with these lines of mat select example that wrap by mat form field. This basic mat select mat option loops by themes array, so we need to add an array to the TypeScript file. Open and edit src app basic component ts. Then add this array variable before the constructor. To check this example of select, run again the Angular. Now the basic mat select with mat options will be like this. The next example is to get the selected value to the console or display it to the text. Still on basic component ts, add this variable before the list data. Next, add ng models to the basic component HTML. That points to the previously created variable. Also, add an H3 to display the results of the selected option. And here is the selections looks like. Select in reactive form example. This example is the most used in almost every Angular applications that uses forms to input some data, including show error message on every invalid selection using error state measure components. First, we will create an Angular reactive form to add a new data. Generate a new Angular components for this example. Add that generated components to the src app routing module ts and register to src app components html as the previous example. Next, open and edit src app reactive components ts. Then add this import. Add my error state mature class that implements error state mature before the reactive component class. Add these variables before the constructor of the React component class. Initialize form groups and form controls using form builder inside the ngOnInit function. Don't forget to inject form builder to the constructor. Add the form submit functions to check the selected items to the console. Next, implement the HTML or Angular templates by open and edit src app reactive components HTML and replace all tags with this. Right here, we are using Angular material, math card, and math icon. For that, we need to add those modules to the app module ts. To set the initial values as the edit form, add these functions to the reactive components ts. Then call these functions in ngOnInit function. Grouping option example. For this example, first we have to create a new component to exactly like the previous example with the components name grouping. So this math select contain math opt group which the group name disabled or cannot choose, and each math opt group has their own math option. Open and edit src app grouping components ts. Then add this nested array variable. Next, open and edit src app grouping components html. Then replace all HTML tags or Angular templates with this. Multiple select example. Using only math select is the single selection mode by default. To make it multiple selections, just add a multiple attribute to the math select before implementing this example. Create a new Angular component with the name multiple. Do as the previous components to register these new components to the routing and the main component. Next, open and edit src app multiple components ts. Then add this array of string variable. Next, open and edit src app multiple components html. Then replace all HTML tags with this. Nested select example. Nested select in this example is two or more math select, and depending on the first math select, selections, it sends to the value to the second math select options, and so on. Before implementing this example, create a new Angular component with the name nested. Do as the previous components to register resume components to the routing and domains components. Next, open and edit src app nested components ts. Then add this nested array of objects and empty array variables. Next, open and edit src app nested components HTML, then replace all HTML tags with this. There are show themes and show players, functions calls when selections change. For that, back to the nested component TS and add these functions. Custom style example. As usual, we will put a custom style format select in a new Angular component. For that, do as the previous example to add and register resume components. Give them custom when generating a new component. Next, open and edit src app custom component ts. Then add these imports. To make custom style applied to the Match Select panel, add these lines to add component. Open and edit src app custom component HTML, then replace all HTML tags with this. Next, add a style class to src app custom component CSS. To customize the select box, add this style. Now, run again the Angular server or Angular application. And here's the whole application looks like. That is the example of Angular material form controls, select, match select. As usual, you can get articles and the full source code links in the description below. If you think this tutorial is useful, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you and see you later.